Yo, what is up, YouTube? It's YP Gang, YP Nation, YP Boxing, YBP MMA. I'm coming at y'all with another video for this fight week. I want to make a video every single day of this fight week to commemorate I think it's just a huge event altogether. I think it's probably the most excited I've been for a fight, main and co-main. I think it's two tremendous fights, but, I already made a video for Topuria Max, my official prediction. I'll probably drop another video on that fight, maybe concerning like some narrative stuff and whatnot. But I want to talk about Chimaev and Robert Whittaker. Chimaev has the biggest video on my channel. It's at like 17,000. So whenever I talk about Chimaev, people usually tune in. My views have kind of gone down. I got kicked from the algorithm. I don't know if I can ever get it back, but that's why I just do this stuff for content. I'm not putting crazy effort into it, but I do want somewhere to where, if someone wants to hear what I got to say about MMA, they can come look at my channel. And it's just something I like to do. I want to be more consistent with it. That's always been the goal, is just be consistent with it. Have a platform already built up so that, when I get up there, I already got something I've been started out. I've been done for. Now it's been a couple of years now, so I put in the work. But, yeah, man, year in and year out, I feel like these fight cards have been have not been special. It feels like they're kind of just routine. We saw that with the Pereira Roundtree. Like, it just felt like they threw that together. Roundtree wasn't even they just wanted a striker for him in there, and I commend Roundtree. He proved everyone wrong. He went longer a distance in that fight, but now, this 308 card, especially when Abu Dhabi and the people from that part of the world get involved with these fight cards. We saw that with Riyadh season as well, with the Sphere. Like, these cards, they genuinely feel special, and they feel like something you actually need to pay attention to. And that's what we're getting this weekend with Topuria, Holloway, and Whittaker Chimaev. But that's besides the point. We got to talk about the co-main event, of course. Whittaker Chimaev, my official prediction for the fight. Honestly, when the fight first got announced, I was on the Whittaker side. I was of the mindset that if we saw what Chimaev and Whittaker did, what Chimaev did against Usman. And in my mind, looking at that fight, Whittaker is pretty comparable to Usman. But my thoughts have changed. And this, honestly, I'm not gonna, I'll see. We'll get closer to it. I'll see like what props stick out maybe for like a bet. I don't know. But I really don't feel comfortable about that main event. Even it feels like these, and this happens sometimes, when it's far out and when it's it's fresh in your mind, the predictions seem to be like a little more quick, like, oh, this guy will just smoke him. Khalil Roundtree happened with him. Fight week, I feel like people give him way more of a chance than Jamal and Yuri, and they actually got pretty proven vindicated. But up to that point, there was no proof that he actually had a better chance than those guys. So fight week comes around and people like flip their opinions. Things change, once you get the embedded, you see the fighters, you see the training, you hear the stories, the interviews start flowing in. Opinions can change on fight week. It's a real thing. And for me, it really changed. I think hearing some other people talk about the fight, I think watching tape and really thinking about who Usman is as a fighter versus who Whittaker is as a fighter, I gotta pick Chimaev, because I don't think my thinking prior was that Whittaker is the grappler, or at least is equivalent to what Usman was. So he can do similar things in the fact that he can survive that first round, and he has 5-round cardio, and he has excellent striking like Usman, and he can go out there and put a pace on Chimaev and eventually get the TKO. That was my thinking. My official prediction prior was Whittaker knockout round 3 or something. But I got to thinking, like, Whittaker's not first of all, he hasn't faced anybody. You look at the guys that Usman's faced, like grapplers wise. He's fought Woodley, he fought Colby. This is just off the dome. I think he fought, I don't know if he fought Robbie Lawler. He's fought a plethora of guys with a similar style to Khamzat Chimaev, who will bring the pace. So he's able to weather that storm. And I think Usman's just a better pound for pound fighter than Whittaker is. Like, just an all-time great. Like, when it comes to the grappling, when it comes to the striking, knockout ability. And sure, Whittaker's turned a corner. Maybe he's made some improvements and he's a very good fighter. But this is the same Whittaker that's, getting chinned by Robert Whittaker. Sorry, This is the same Robert Whittaker that's getting chinned by DDP and getting hip tossed, head and arm. Like, this is very amateur grappling stuff. It's like amateur hour. The stuff that he was getting caught with, ground and pound and hit. Now, Khamzat's not like the crazy ground and pound guy, but if DDP, and I'm not very impressed with DDP's grappling. I'll be the first to, the takedown setups that he had against Izzy just made me honestly, I picked DDP, but the takedown setups were so bad. I was disappointed. Izzy, like, what are you doing, Izzy? Like, this guy's just literally falling to the ground and grabbing at your legs, and Izzy's falling over. This is not the takedown defense that I saw in previous fights. Like, it was that's a critical fight. But DDP was doing the amateur stuff against Whittaker. Just the levels, and people like to point, okay, Yoel Romero has struggled with, controlling guys over. It's a different type of wrestling style from Yoel, and Khamzat Chimaev. Khamzat's consistently going at him. This is MMA wrestling too. This is not like, the Olympic style wrestling. Khamzat's consistently going to put him up against the cage. He's going to shoot for multiple takedowns. He's going to try to go for it. It's just a different pace. It's a different, and he's a sub threat. Yoel, not really. You know what I'm saying? He was even struggling with control. When Khamzat gets control of you, you're not getting out. We saw that in the first round of the Usman fight. So I just don't. The thing is, the fight does get interesting after 2, 3, 4. But honestly, I can't see Whittaker dealing with the physicality that Khamzat's going to put on him. We saw him struggle with the physicality of a guy like DDP. Khamzat, that's his game. He's going to try to get up against you. He's going to try to make it physical. And he's going to try to, wear you down. He's going to get those takedowns. I just didn't like the visual that I saw. Usman really doesn't get bullied around. He's a very, very tough fighter. Fought, some of the best grapplers we've seen. Burns is a name that I just completely slipped my mind. Burns. Like, Whittaker doesn't have those names, like, as far as grapplers goes. Like, Usman's dealt with those dangerous grapplers, and Whittaker, he's never fought a style like this. I don't buy his. I think I heard somewhere on one of the podcasts I listened to that he was on like the amateur team, or he was on the Olympic team for Australia. I don't buy that it's on enough of a level to stop Khamzat Chimaev's grappling. And I think really the biggest thing is, I know I'm kind of talking in circles, but I'm just trying to get my main point in is that Whittaker can't deal with the physicality of Khamzat Chimaev, and this is also, you also gotta, when you're betting on Chimaev too, you gotta bet on potential too with these undefeated guys. You gotta bet on that. You gotta hope that he's improved his cardio. That even if the fight gets out of round 1, I still think he can get a takedown around 2, 3. I still think he can. He's live for a sub in round 2, in round 3, after getting a dominant 10-8. So, but when I think about the fight, I can't really see it going 5 rounds. I think it's a 3-round fight. I think it's a fight that doesn't go all the way. I think someone's gonna finish, whether it's Chimaev by sub or Whittaker by knockout. He's shown to be a dangerous guy the way he knocked out Ikram Aliskerov. By the way, that was someone that Khamzat already knocked out prior to. I think Khamzat's striking is also getting a little underrated here. I know Whittaker's probably the faster guy. I know Whittaker probably, he's on that steam. Now he's showing that power. Khamzat's consistently had that power. Maybe not he showed, but for him to go strike for strike, honestly, you could say in that round 3, he outstruck Kamaru Usman. Coming on strong, going blow for blow with a guy like Usman. Those shots, I think Usman's a better striker than Whittaker. You know what I'm saying? In my opinion, that might be a wild opinion, but I truly think Usman is a really, really good win. And he's a pound for pound talent, and I think that was a tough fight for what it was. I think the Whittaker fight's actually going to be easier, going into it. I have a lot of respect for Usman. I think that was Usman could truly. I think he'd go out there and smoke Whittaker. I think it's a bad matchup for Whittaker. So it's a little bit MMA math, but I think there's some similarities between Usman and Whittaker, and there's just stuff that I think Chimaev can do the same thing that he did to Usman, but this time he gets to finish. This time he makes those changes, and this time he makes it look easy, and he goes out there and proves that he's the Chimaev that we know and love. So give me Chimaev by first round submission. I think the grappling is too much. I think Whittaker can't deal with the physicality of Khamzat Chimaev, and I just don't think he has the grappling credentials, grappling skill to stop the takedowns early and just even battle back. I think because Robert Whittaker was saying, this isn't going to be a wrestling match. This is going to be a MMA fight. How is he? I mean, you know how demoralizing it is? It takes a veteran like Usman to go out there and after round one of getting completely dominated, nearly finished, because he got flattened out at some point in that fight, 10-8. It takes a veteran to go out there rounds 2, 3, and maybe 4, 5 to, battle back, in those bad moments. Look at how Whittaker just crumbled, after DDP had a dominant round. It never got better for him. Khamzat will put on the pressure. He'll open up with a big lead. He's gonna land big shots. He's gonna be on. Well, I don't know if he's gonna land big shots. Actually, I mean, he might though. He landed some big shots on Usman. He covered up well, but those same shots, Usman, man, he has an underrated chin. I'm telling you, he really only got knocked out by Leon, and that was upperweight class. Like Whittaker at 185 has a terrible chin. So I think he can win it in so many ways. I think the train's coming. I don't know if Chimaev will be champion. We got to see if he comes out and gives like a really good performance. I don't know if he'll be champion, but it's inevitable, man. You got to bet up. You got to bet on potential. You got to bet on the grappling credentials. And this is not the fight that he loses. I think if he loses, it'll be against another like physically dominating guy that you can't just push around. It'll be against like DDP or maybe Kaio or I don't know. I think Bo is an interesting fight. I'd love to see that. It'll be against like one of them type of guys. Or I think DDP. DDP's the one. But he could just take down DDP for 5 rounds, Or could he? I don't know. I don't know if he can. But it would have to be one of those guys who Khamzat can't just wheel around and push around. Like, this fight, he will bully Whittaker. Like, what is Whittaker? 6 foot. Khamzat's 6'2", longer reach. Like, Khamzat just trumps him, bro. Like, the way he looked like huge against Usman, like, he's going to look huge against Whittaker. It's a terrible fight for Whittaker. I don't know. I mean, there's a path to victory, but I don't think it's as clear as just him surviving around 1. I think Chimaev, without the health issues, I think he can go out there and strike with Whittaker 4 rounds, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's gonna have to be something. It's gonna have to be a late finish. But the longer the fight goes, it does get better for Robert Whittaker. But I think he legitimately has 3 rounds to get a sub. If he gets him down to the ground and gets on that back, I think it's the floor is lava for Whittaker in this fight. So I've been talking for a lot. I really wanted to get this video out. I feel pretty confident about this prediction. But crazy things have happened. I'm not gonna lie. Like Whittaker already fraud checked Ikram Aliskerov. I stupidly picked Ikram. I mean, in hindsight, that was like really bad because if you watch tape on Ikram, he's not the grappler that. I mean, he has the grappling credentials, but you got to watch for fighters' tendencies because you can look at a fight and sometimes bettors, you got to look for the nuanced take. Like, well, this guy has a clear advantage in this area. He's gonna go out there and do it. That's not always the case. Hadley, had a path to victory where he could grapple Smotherman, and he didn't grapple much, and he loses a bad decision. No, not that it was a bad decision, but like he pretty much got cooked by a guy on short notice, Cameron Smotherman. Smotherman got knocked out by Gregorio. So I remember that he got blasted, and Gregorio just lost to this Chinese kid. So I mean, on paper, minus 500, and then he gets cut from the UFC. So it's just some fighters, they just don't fight to their abilities. You got to look for how they fight. And Khamzat is a relentless grappler. He does that pretty much every single time he fights. Ikram didn't. Ikram struck with Whittaker, and that's what happened. Chimaev has a crazy chin at 185, at 170. The guy is, made of steel. Whittaker doesn't. I think they're just on opposite trajectories. I think Whittaker's on the way out. Even though he did have that resurgence, I love that win for him. I think if he wins this fight, the winner of this fight regardless should get a title shot, but they're on different trajectories. I think, Khamzat's on the way up. Whittaker, he's done everything in his career. If we're just talking from a narrative standpoint, he's done everything. This is just his final hurrah. I think it's just inevitable, man. It's just inevitable. Chimaev is not losing in Abu Dhabi, man. I can't see. I see a dominant 30, it's going to be like a really, really strong round one, Chimaev sub round one, just classic. Just, and I think everyone's going to fall in love with him again. I think everyone's going to be like, oh, that's your new champion. That's your guy. And I think he makes it look easy. So give me Chimaev, Khamzat Boris Chimaev to get the round one submission in the co-main event of UFC 308. Khamzat's back, baby. I'm telling you, man. He's got it, man. I think it's just, he's that guy, bro. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I give my breakdown, but, sometimes it's just like, just look at the two of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, look at the aura. You just got to know sometimes, like, who's on the way up, who's on the way down. It's just simple. You just know he's coming. He's been waiting on his moment. I'm sure he was a little embarrassed with the Usman fight. There was the Holland incident. He was supposed to be main. Burns, this is his opportunity to really rewrite everything. He was supposed to be the champion 5 years ago, like ages ago, centuries ago. He's supposed to be champion. He's supposed to be double champion. I think he gets an opportunity to rewrite all that and create his own story. And he will do that on, what day is that? It's October 26th, is it? On Saturday? Yeah, October. He will do that on October 26th in the co-main event of UFC 308 to Poirier Holloway. Khamzat Chimaev will submit Robert Whittaker inside one round. Leave a like and subscribe. Peace out, most guard. You know what it is.